thank you for the opportunity. Okay, do you believe a relationship between non-Christian and a Christian would last? Maybe if we focus about do you believe or would last, but we're gonna eliminate those two. Do I believe that or will it last? So what happened if a Christian or believers with the non-believers fall in love, and how God's point of view about the relationship? It's true, I admitted I had a relationship before with non-believers, and it's common in Indonesia because Indonesia we have population of 80% or more than 80% Muslim, and we are really minority there. So, and it's not even believers, non-believers. Right now, in North America, I just researched in Barna sites. So they already see as a believers, consistent church goers, or just participating, or what you call I believe God, but I do not commit to God. So there are three kinds of Christians in North America right now. So will it consider believers, or how about if we have interaction and we want to go further with the relationship with the different point of view of Christianity? So the base foundation for my thank you, Oscar. The base foundation for my point of view is how Christ put himself as a cornerstone of anything that you build. Here they already make a parables about there is one wise person that builds a house on top of a rock, and there is unwise person that builds a house on the sand. I want to remind our cell group. I really appreciate because I have the same question from Tasha. We had the cell group. What happened if we have? I have a friend with a non-Christian and Christian. Would that last? How it's gonna last? And we have that might respond to it and then discussion. So we go back to the foundation. Oh, it depends. The conclusion, it depends. And I've been thinking about this and then do some research about it. And God spoke to me about how you build yourself in any, not just relationship. If we build something on top of a rock, anything you build will last. Anything you build on top of a sand, when you have a task in your life, when the storm came or the flood came, and then that's when you see which buildings or which foundation that last. So, in our relationship, why Christ put himself a cornerstone, a strong foundation. Let's say in our relationship, in anything that we build, we have a lot of foundations. Like we have to, how our point of view about kids, raising a kids. What happens if we have to raise a kid? How about if we have a different foundation? How about if we have a different perspective? And how about money? How we spend our money? How about if we surround it with a lot of cases that we don't know how to solve this case. We don't know how to react, how we respond to this case. But if we have the cornerstone, it's like that's my point of reference. That's my point of reference. That I believe if a relationship or anything that you build in your life, including relationship, have the same point of reference, which is the cornerstone. As a builder, you know you're gonna build your cornerstone first. You're gonna put your cornerstone first before everything else. If you have a builder here, you build the building. When you start, you build the foundation and you put your cornerstone first as your point of reference. I have a story with point of reference. Back in 2008, we have an opportunity to go to Raja Ampat with Lisa. And we rent a boat. And it's a very, very beautiful place, but there is no any facility. We just rent a boat. We just rent a boat, and then we don't know the guy, which is in very, very remote places. And then at the way back, so we decide to see the sunset first, and then we go back. So boat ride with no GPS, no nothing, is 4 hours drive in the middle of Arafura Sea, which is very rough sea. If you can see how long is between Australia and Papua. So if something happened, done.
The boat was really small, like it's only 4 people.
So we didn't realize that boat doesn't have a light. So in the middle of, and it starts after the sunset, you got 3 hours ride to go back to the main, back to Papua, which is completely in darkness. We don't have any point of reference until we see a really small.
But that guy used the cell phone.
Yeah, that guy used the cell phone, and I don't know, for lighting to find their ways. Where are we going? Suddenly, and the machine stopped, and they're trying to find where are we? And until they see a small light as a point of reference. That's the lighthouse in the mainland, in the Papua. So we just trust that guy. And in our heart, it's like, oh, how about if there is a big whale? How about if there's a lock? How about if? Because we cannot see anything. It's just what we can see is total darkness, and we can hear is the machine running. Hopefully there is no like hiccups in the machine. And that's our point of reference. So that's life. Sometimes what happened in our life, we're in the middle of something, and then we got carried away, or it's totally darkness in our life, and we don't know what to do, how to react, how to respond. But as a relationship, if we have partners that have the same point of reference, can you imagine if the boat guy have a different point of reference than the lighthouse? And in the middle right, can you go to the right? Can you go to the left? Or let's try this, or let's try that. So if we have the same point of reference, when you build your relationship or anything, you build your business, if we have the same cornerstone, anything happen, you will go back to that point of reference. That's one experience. So that's my point of view about Christian or non-Christian. Will it last? Maybe, but we will see the truth when they have passed in, when they facing the past challenges. Because you know, when we are building a relationship, not just one day, we're building for us, right? That's, yeah. So your principle, your point of reference, value, we go back to that cornerstone. So that's where you build your how you build your relationship, or if you have a different beliefs. And the second one, last one is completely short. This is our experience. One time when back in Indonesia, before we moved here, we lived in Jakarta. So my parents, at the end of their retiring age, so we decided to build tempat kos. It's like we built boarding house. So for them to enjoy their own life, so it's easy to manage. So me and Lisa, we decided to invest everything. Just we live in the 3-story building, ruko, and then we sell everything to build that. And I was working as a photographer back in the day. So after it finished, it's not even running yet. We have the office at the ground floor, so everything built already. So one day we had lunch, and we got phone call. Eric, do you see my computer? What do you mean? The computer is at your desk. It's one of our workers. We don't have your computers. What happened? Oh, just come home because I cannot find my computers. One of the designer saying that, and then when we got home and checked, somebody stole his computer and my computer. And we go through it. What else is missing? It turns out my whole camera set gone. Like, because in the term of moving, I just put all my gears, 3 cameras, professional lenses and stuff, in the big bag with this, the big bag. So, like big suitcase, and it is gone. Like, it's about 20 grand something. So, well, how are we gonna respond to this? We have some friends said this, or just go to psychic, or maybe you do something's wrong with God, or maybe there's a past. But what's our reaction as a family? That's important. And Lisa keeps saying, yeah, of course, it's really disappointing for a couple of days, but how are we gonna start like finding who's to blame, who's blaming to someone or blaming to the situation? But we decided to keep forward. Not just that. We forgot about, okay, we start building it, my photography career, we start renting, start borrowing, and to do the work. Not just that. And one day, Lisa got into this revival meeting, and I still can remember. We don't have anything yet. We start building my equipment to do the work, and Lisa said this, from the revival, God said, give the best, give the precious gift to God. And
we only have that last money.
We only get a little chunk, and you know, in Chinese tradition, you got the ang pao from, let's say, gold bracelet, something like that, and then that's the last piece of it. We don't have anything.
And God said to give that away in that situation.
And that situation, she came to me, and then God wants to.
So how are you going to respond?
So how am I going to respond? Obviously, I don't respond well, but because man is always logically. We do plans. We're responsible to things. We take responsibility to how to survive. We take responsibility to how to survive this plannings on the futures. And the last of it, let's say, is our last capital, and God wants it too. It's like, what? Once you took it, and the second one you wanted. So how we respond? But okay, so we pray, and then we decided to give the last bit of what we had to God. Got the story short. Of course, after 6 months, we start doing the work, and God gave everything back.
Amen.
Restore everything back. And that's one of the decisions. We decided to move from Jakarta to Bali. So we start, it's a new start, no problem. Bring it up.
Because we experienced
and because I experienced that. Anything happened from zero, from nothing to something, bring it up. So we start from zero in Bali. And then by living not
8 months.
8 months in Bali, and our application to Canada. Oh, do you want to proceed your application, your permanent resident application to move to Canada? What do you mean? Bali is the epicenter of pleasure or travel. As a photographer, I got everything. Living there is like half an hour drive. I got the beach, 1 hour drive. I got the mountains. We have a active living. We love outdoors. We got everything there, and living there is But there is another test. Do we put the cornerstone as a pleasure in our relationship? So we decided, because of that, bring it up, because we want to rely on God more. So we moved to Canada from zero. So we start over. Yeah, that's the story. And then NK, and yeah, it's gonna be too long. That's how we need to have the same foundation. That's why we need to have the same point of reference, because the test will be there. Pressure will be there. Problems, you have to solve it. You have to work with it. Character, oh man, no. That's the, if you have, it's okay, it's me, but God's wants different. God wants His character to be planted in you, because we're not born perfect. We're born with sin. We're born with potential, but you have to work it. It's like, yeah. So that's my story.
Okay. Thank you, Eric, and I totally agree. Yeah, it's because like Christianity is about, it's not about religion, it's about worldview, it's about paradigm, it's about different foundations. So that's why it's very important to have the same reference point as Eric said. All right, so we're gonna go to the second question. Is it a must to get married and have children? Right? Yeah, what do you think? No? Why not? Paul? Why not Paul? Yeah. Okay, just gonna ask Lisa to just elaborate on that.
All right. Is it a must? What do you think? No? Why?
Because it's so in the Bible. I mean, Paul is like, I guess you could say, the role model when it comes to Christianity. And yet, did he get married? Did he have children? No. In fact, there was one thing that he said about, if you can, it's better to dedicate your entire life to God. Because when you have a family, now you have a responsibility, right? But then, obviously, that doesn't mean that marriage is any less than singleness, but it also doesn't mean that singleness is any more than marriage.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Good answer.
So yeah, I had a problem with this issue before, and yeah, it made me went through years of thinking that I was like half women or less valuable because I didn't have, and we don't have children. So, and it took years for God to heal me and to give me this understanding. So, probably I can ask you this. Okay, so whenever I met somebody that's younger than me, like they're still at schools, I often ask, so why do you study? Why do you study at school? Oh, it's because I want to go to college. I want to go get a good degree. Okay, so after you get the degree, what you gonna do with that? Oh, I'm gonna get a good job, right? Why do you wanna get a good job? Because they're gonna pay me like a high salary. Okay, great. So after you get the money, what you gonna do with that? Sometimes they will just say, oh, okay, I don't have any plan yet, but probably I can spend the money to get a house, right? To get married or to have a car, like a nice car. So, okay, then you got everything that you want. And then what are you gonna do with the car after God gave you the car, right? So sometimes, many times, they just like, well, just enjoy it, right? So to answer that question, probably we can go back to asking or pondering to ourselves, why do we want to get married and have children? or
Why don't we?
why don't we wanna get married, or why don't we wanna have children? And Pastor Danny said about it's all come back to what is God's purpose in your life, or what is God's goal in your life. If you see this in Philippians 3, yeah, Philippians 3, if you can have it, oh, there, yeah. Philippians 3, 10-11. Somebody wants to read that? This is the title of this passage is really clear. The goal of life. This is from the Amplified, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been searching like entire years of my life, like what is the goal of life? What is the purpose of life? It's there. It's on your Bible, stated there. So yeah, I can read it from here. And this so that I may know him experientially, becoming more thoroughly acquainted with him, understanding the remarkable wonders of his person more completely. And in that same way experience the power of his resurrection, which overflow and is active in believers, and that I may share the fellowship of his suffering by being continually conformed inwardly into his likeness, even to his death, or dying as he did, so that I may attain the resurrection that will raise me from the dead. So God's goal in our life is so clear here, to become like him, like Jesus, as a follower of Jesus. So it's not like a fan of Jesus, like like just like in Instagram, just like and then enough. No, he wants you to become like him, to be his follower, to be his disciple. So it's not only like, okay, I like what Jesus did, I like him, I adore him, but not actually. So this is the goal of everyone's life. Whenever you call yourself a follower of Jesus, a believer, so your God's goal in your life is to become like him. And so how do he process us to become like him? Every person is called differently, right? So some of you may be called someday to have a husband or a wife. Some of you may be called to have a family, to have children. Some of you may be blessed to have children. Some of you may not. And it took me years to understand to this point. So it's important to know like the strong motivation why I want to get married, or why I want to get a good job, why I want to have a car or a house. So it's the same thing, like why I want to decide to marry this person, or why after we married we decide to have children, and how many children will we have. So that's important, the strong motivation. So it took me like to understand this. If I don't want to have children, why was that? Because of having children is so problematic. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to raise them well in this anxious age. So meaning that your fear has to be resolved yet. Bring that fear under the fear of Jesus, and then okay, God, I have this fear. I have this trauma. Or it's, for example, I don't want to get married ever because guys always like so jerk or something like that. Like, they always, I just cannot stand it because apparently one guy ever hurt me. So you need to bring that hurt under the feet of Jesus and resolve that before you decide not to get another relationship. Because what? Because God may process you through having relationship and having a husband one day, or having a children. So don't shut yourself out of or decide one thing based on of your hurt in the past or based on your fear. So yeah, we've been married for 18 years, and then after 15 years, then we begin to understand. I especially, because after all those years, I never really, I never really. I have a confession that I never really have this calling to. I like children. I love children. And Eric loves children. Everyone's in our young couple groups. They have all small children, and every small children is always like drawn to him. It's just naturally, embedded in him. So yeah. But I have this, okay, if God wants to give me children, then I will receive them, like, gladly. But I never has this calling, but I have a heart for abandoned children. So I think, oh, maybe I can like adopt some children later or serve them. But then a pressure come, right, from family, from, okay, mother-in-law. And that's a really important thing about points of reference, remember? And then one day I told Eric, I think you have to divorce me because I cannot have children. And I think, yeah, if you have like a good wife and then still give you a good home and a full of children, then you will be perfect. Imagine if we don't have that point, same point of reference. He might take that advice. We might not be together right now. So it's very important. And then God said to me that I'm going to process you differently. So my goals in life to be like Him will be different with your process. Each of us will be different. And then 2nd years of marriage, that's the first time God sent us to Aceh that time. There was you remember the big tsunami, massive tsunami there. And after that, like each year, probably we went 3 or 4 times like each year. Until God called us to K Island, and then 15 years of marriage, then we look back and we know, if we have children, we might not be able to fulfill that purpose, right? But along the way, God gave us many disciples. So it's like it's spiritual children, like that we care about, like that's come to our under spiritual care. So you can see the different. You will be processed differently. You will be called differently. So remember that it won't make you less valuable in God's eyes. So whenever you get married, then you are blessed with that process to become like Him. And then God give you children. Then you become, you will be processed through that caring of the children. That will be your first disciples in your life to be more like Him. And then if God called you to stay single, then it will be the process for you to be more like Him. So back to reference point and the goals of life. If you read on Philippians chapter 3, there's a whole passage about it, and ponder that, think about that, pray about that, and then think. So the basic point will be to know the goal in life to become like Him is having relationship, first of all, with Him. So will you know? You will know because you have that relationship. Oh, God called me to be married to this person, and then God called us to have children, and how many children will we have? So I hope that's answered the question.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, question number 4. So I would actually ask my beloved wife to actually answer it.
Okay, it's a tough question, but that's good question, and that's real too. So there are two things here. It's about raping and keep the baby, or like forcing, or and here is about abortion then. First of all, raping is evil. Raping is cruel, is serious crime, like cannot acceptable, right? And it's actually that the rapist has to be brought to under the law, but sometimes are missing. But still, we have to see that raping is very cruel, and because there are this including 3 parties in here: the rapist itself, which is not doing the right things, and then against the Bible for sure, and then the second one is the woman herself, and then let's not forget about the baby as a victim. So let's see about the abortion itself. Sometimes, like, we never know because we don't experience this kind of struggle. Maybe like we have friends or we have family that who experience this kind of struggle in their life. So there's no answer for this question, like a clear yes or no, that you have to keep the baby or you have to do the abortion, or like for some other reasons. But there are like some guidance, some principle that we know, some steps, some process that we need to help them to get out from this struggle. It's not easy. It's not a short or instant process, but this is for us to help them in God's way. So sometimes we feel that the abortion itself, like an easy step, or like simple step that just to help the person who's being raped and has to and is pregnant. Sometimes like, okay, just go abort the baby. It will help you, and you'll be free. You will be like not like experiencing more trauma, pain, and everything. But it's not. It is not. It's actually there is a psychology and emotional effect by doing that, actually. And then like the fact, I mean, like the woman herself cannot eliminate the fact that the baby is there, and then that she has to eliminate that baby from her body. I mean, like the feeling of how you eliminate the baby is not easy. It's not only like just, okay, I will get a better life after I eliminate this baby, and then I'll do it. It's not like that. From my experience is like I miscarried 2 times before manual. It's not about, I just want to share a bit, it's not about the wanted child or the unwanted child. It's about how you feel when losing the baby. It's so hard for you cannot tell, you can describe it, and the person, like your spouse, cannot like feel it, cannot at all. It's only you. It's only the person, the woman, the mother, who knows how it feels. It is so sad. It is so heavy. You know, the blame to yourself is you cannot describe it. It's depressing because it attached to you want it or you don't want it. It attached to your body, and something that taken out from your body, like forcibly, it's so painful. And then the questions, the blame, like the guilt, especially the guilt, it's so hard. It's so hard for you to eliminate that feeling because it's bombarded by the question and everything. Especially like if you really want it, and then you ask, why God? Why that happens to me? That happens to me? Why I have to experience this struggle, something like that. So all the whys come to your mind, and then guilt you take the guilt, and it's hard for you to release and to forgive the person itself, and then you can be like straight, like thinking straight. So it's so difficult for the person to be healed. That's why you cannot do it alone. If I'm alone at that time, I don't think I can be like now, and I cannot be healed, and I'm free from all the condemnation. Because for me it's a miracle to have to be pregnant at that time. But why God? Why it's not there yet? Why it has to be what has to be taken out? Something like, so the question is like crazy. So the guilt itself like hit me like so hard. The process itself, it's not just an easy option to be like as to being aboard the kids itself, and then you have to get the help from the professional help. You cannot bear it by yourself. You cannot do it alone. That's why if we experience like some friends or family that experience this, don't let them like experience this alone, because it's so hard and you cannot bear it. You have to help them by connecting to the professional organization who can help this. Like we have PCC. If you don't know, pregnancy care center.
Yeah.
That like help the teenagers, the girls, the single mom, the brokenness and everything to get healed there. So yeah, and sometimes like you feel that the last question is like, how is the baby, if the baby like struggling life, like, but that's how you decide that the baby is going to be struggle. It's actually God's creation is always perfect in His eyes, and then there are many unfortunate moments we as a human can experience, but God is there. God is always with us, and God can turn the ashes into the dancing. That it's only like how we want to bring that that principle, that the foundation and everything in our life, and how we want to see the stuff like going on into as a point reference that we talk about the reference point. I think it's that we have to go back to God. We have to ask for help. We have to connect them with somebody or like organization, professional organization to help, so they can, well, the choices is up to them at the end, but at least we can help them to when they're going through this process. And some are born in a difficult situation, some are poverty, some are rich or like not in a good shape and something, but one thing that for sure is it won't determine their future, because there's always hope in God. So we have to have the reference point in our life, that God is the center, that we always go back to God. So there's always a hope, there's always a way, and the process can be done in God's way. It's not ours, it's not our decision.
Okay, thank you. The point of reference is, has always been that the healing, we need the healing from God, right, in regards to any situation. And knowing that eliminating the third victim in this equation, yes, people sometimes think that it will eliminate the pain. However, something that we don't take into consideration, and there's another pain they might actually incur because of that too. Right. So we have to all take all of these into consideration, and really allow the person to decide. But understanding all of these, not just the easy way out. Okay, if you eliminate one, it will solve the problem. That's not as easy, right? There's a chart actually of abortion, and maybe the next slide, right? So these are based on USA Today 2019. These are the chart of why people abort their baby, right? I know in terms of this tug of war between pro-choice and pro-life, like people bring up this rape issue as into the surface as in, what if this, what if this, what if. But in all of these, we see that the victim of abortion that because they're the victim of rape takes up about 1%. But the majority is because of the mother of what the mother feels, whether they're ill-equipped, they're not ready, and things like that. And this is where we need to come in as children of God to be able to guide them and help them. Again, the point of Christ, to get to know Christ and to experience Christ in their life. All right. Question number 5. All right, this is a very good question too. We learn about the qualities that a woman looks for in a man. Right, the 4 things. Man. What are they?
Strength, decisiveness,
consistency.
There's 2 men's in the house. All right, all men. Maturity, decisiveness, consistency, and strength. All right, and that's just the 4 words. But in those 4 words, it contains many things. All right, so just not just the 4, right? Now the question is, what qualities will a man look for in a woman? Okay, man, speak up. What other qualities will a man look for in a woman? Like men are so shy to pick it up, and then they expect something, and then if the women need to do it, they're gonna get mad. Okay, this is a chance. The women ask. Say it. Supporting. Sporting is okay. Supporting. Yeah. Anyone else?
Maturity.
Maturity. Okay.
Strength.
It's loyalty. All right. Okay. Nurturing. All right. What is it? We got some nice men in the house. They're not really demanding. So, women, if you look for men, yeah, we have some not too demanding people in this community. So, all right. So, now the women, do you really want to know? Are you ready for this? All right, so there are many references. Actually, there's a lot of references for men in the Bible, men and fathers. That's basically for men, and we can actually have a whole seminar about what men needs to be, right? The same thing with women. But one of the core passages that we use in in looking at what the qualities that God wants from a woman is actually in Proverbs 31, right? So you can open up Proverbs 31, and then when you look at the description there, maybe you said, well, I should ask. Anyway, no, but this is good. This is really good. Again, men and women. There's a lot of things for men too. So I'm just trying to summarize. I know there's more, but this is there are 10. They call it the virtues of women. Okay, 10, right? Okay.
Then we can do that. 4 for job and 10.
Well, men needs help. That's why God created women. The women is actually stronger. So, blessed are the women in the house. And this is just a few, okay? This is just a few. But then, when you look at it and you refer to the 4 things in men, it's similar. A lot of them are similar. It's there. Men and women are the same. Number one, faith, right? Number one, faith. She loves Jesus Christ with all her heart. Right? That person. Any amen from a man? Any amen from a woman? So yeah, basically, you serve God with all the heart, your heart, your mind, and your soul. Again, this is the same thing with the man. Okay, so men you're not off the hook, right? But this is very important for women as well. You're gonna see why. Okay, number two, faithful, right? She's a faithful bride. Right? Number two. Yeah. Number three, mothering, right? Mothering, doesn't mean I'm not a mother yet, but that's something that we need to start, training ourselves and nurturing. A loving mother and her children she's a loving mother and her children called her blessed, because women, again, when you manage the home and everything, you teach the children the way the father, the way God does, and you nurture the children, you train children, right? It's like that. Health. She takes care of her physical, mental, and spiritual health. Right? That's you take care of. Women needs to take care of the body. Again, you support. So strong. You need to be strong. Men, you need to be strong because you go and you are the resource of the family. Women, you manage whatever the resources that the men come home with, and you need to be strong too, to support the weaklings. Service, you serve others with love and kindness. Stewardship, a wise steward of the gift of God that's given her. Industry, so when you think that women are weak, think again, because women is to be industrious, right? Good in working with their hands. All right, let's come down here, okay? When we talk about it, we come to the conclusion that women are like bank and restaurants, right? So basically here, like the grand design is men, go out and work and get money, get resources, come back and put the resources in the bank, and the bank multiply. Raw materials comes to the restaurant, and it comes with it comes out as food, right? A seed given to a woman and a child. So the women is a multiplier. Women is a multiplier, and that's a gift that God gives you. Man cannot multiply. The women is the multiplier. So that's why as a multiplier, you need to have these virtues, right? Number 8, a good manager of her home. Right? And, if the home is a wreck, then, it will affect the family, right? She spends time on that which is good, right? Remember, like bank and restaurant, women is not shopping mall or online shopping, right? So the money that comes in and just boom, get out, and even more than what comes in, right? Because women are the manager of it, right? And beauty, creative embraces beauty and godliness. The same thing as man needs to maintain their health, women needs to maintain their their beauty as well. Not overly, again, needs to be in modesty, but then you need to take care of yourself. That's kind of like that's overall the quality of a woman, right? And understanding this, this is not talking about hierarchy. This is not talking about, one is less than another. This is talking about function. And men, in the Bible, that's why maturity, decisiveness, consistency, and strength is very important, because man is called to be the father. Father, Abba, in the Hebrew language, actually means source. So if the source is not mature, if the source is not consistent, if the source is not strong, if the source is not decisive, then everything else will just fall apart. It doesn't matter how strong the woman is. All right, so men, you need to pay attention to that. Right? Women, after all these quality, and then as a supporter, right, align and support, you need to have this quality too, so that the two can actually work together in synchronization of one another, and that be able to produce, right? This is not about, oh, how come you got it easy and I don't? No. Again, when you actually come together as husband and wife, remember, you become one flesh, right? So, as women has to support the man in doing man's function, man also has to support the women in doing her function, right? If you want your women to be beautiful, you need to provide for the women, right? Like, don't spend money on makeup, but I want you to be beautiful. I'm like, how? Right?
Exactly.
Beads? Here, I give you some beads for you.
Just go to
No,
the store
right?
and get a lipstick.
Yeah. So, that's the thing, right? So that's basically what the two needs to actually come together and walk together. And again, stop, once we get married, something that we need to learn, and something that we struggle too, we need to start comparing ourselves between like, hey, I did this, why don't you do this? And again, you become one flesh. So what you do will affect the other. All right? So that's and in your time, if you want to do a Bible study on this or something like Proverbs 31, that's a good thing for women. All right. So I hope that answers your questions. 11:44 now, I think it's. Yeah. So if you have any question, maybe we can put it in the box because it's a little bit late. Yeah, I know there's a lot of questions now, and there's some all of these are really good questions. Some of the questions are really good, like the LGBTQ and everything. If you want to know more, let me know, right? Or let Jen know, and we can probably do some workshops or a special session on that, or whatever it is that you need to know. Right? But the bottom line is always going back to something that we call reference point. Everybody say reference point. So in every questions that you have, you need to ask, what is my reference point? And then you go back to that reference point and answer based on reference point. Because when you answer it based on culture, or based on sociology, or based on the condition of the world, it changes. A week from now, we probably have a different way of thinking. Or even a year from now, it's going to be a different thing, right? But the only reference point that is unshakable, that is the same yesterday, today, and forever, is the Word of God. So that's why we need to also go back to the Word of God and really look at it from God's point of view. And that's something that we can discover as a community. It's not something that we can discover alone. Amen? Yeah, sorry, so it's been a very intensive question, so we didn't get a chance to answer extra questions at this point, but by all means, just put the questions in the question box, right? And we'll try to answer it at another time, or we'll think of how we're going to do it. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. So.